Hey, Bayek, it's me, Ian, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about this. Yes, guess what it is? You can see, can't you? Yeah, Last Night in Soho from 2021. And wow, this is another amazing film. They keep saying, I hear people, yeah, they don't make films like they used to. Well, they do. They certainly do. This from 2021 is an amazing film. It's just there, and there's been so many that we've come across recently, and this is another one. What can I say? If we look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's 76%. Which ain't bad, I suppose, but again, there's a few doubts about this. But I think the general opinion as time has moved on is that this is a really, really good film. Essential. An essential film. I think that's it. And again, as I like to point out quite often, it's not Hollywood at all. Again, that has to be a good sign. Yes, it's 116 minutes long, and it's directed by Edgar Wright, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Christy Wilson Cairns. Now, Edgar Wright was known in television circles for involved in the space sitcom, which is an amazing Simon Pegg creation. And then he was involved, Simon Pegg again, the three films, The Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. He directed all those. Again, he's also been a lot involved in a lot of writing. He's just a very talented guy, and music plays quite a bit in his work as well. And in fact, he directed the Sparks Brothers documentary from the same year, 2021, and that is a great documentary about the group Sparks. Sparks, very, very good. Again, a music thing. His love of the 60s music came as well in very much to the fore in this film. Music, as I've often talked about in some of my other reviews, plays such an important part in the film. We'll go back to that just a bit later on, but this is just giving you some background of the director. Let's have a look at the cast of the film. Right. Making her debut was Thomasin McKenzie playing Ellie. She's only 18 years old. And what a debut to take on in this film, because she has to really be involved in virtually every scene here. It's very much her leading role, and this is a fantastic performance. I can't talk about it enough. Imagine the whole cast it's just an amazing cast. Then the other lead actress is Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Sandy. Now, she again has got such wonderful acclaim and credit. She was in The Witch, which is a fantastic film. She was in The Split again, and in TV work, she played in the last series of Peaky Blinders, which is again outstandingly acclaimed TV series. She's got a whole range of roles, very much in demand. A lot of people really like her. And in this film, she is absolutely tremendous. I just can't talk enough about her. Then we had to get a Doctor Who connection in again. Matt Smith. He plays Jack. And I am really just astounded when I see Matt Smith, because it shows you what a good actor he really is. I don't think, it's the 11th Doctor. When I see Matt Smith, he's so good that you see him playing the part. And apparently I have not seen a great deal of his other films, but he is this good. It also, what I like about Matt Smith, he has that charm, sophistication, but there's also that bit of dark side, that other side to him, which I rather like. Do you know what struck me when I was watching him? James Bond. He could play James Bond. Yes, he has that sophistication. He has that something special about him. Now, I doubt if it will happen. There is a name for you. He's prime now to play it. Absolutely. I never thought I'd say that, because when he was in Doctor Who, I never saw it. A lot of people say, hey, what about David Tennant? But I think he has something that perhaps David Tennant has shown that. But I just feel that he just has this edge. Because David Tennant's such a great actor as well, and can play darker stuff as well underneath. But there's something, when I saw Matt Smith in this role, it just stood out. I think maybe I was getting carried away because it was the 60s. And there's that great scene where she comes out and you see Thunderball with Sean Connery, the big poster. Incidentally, I noticed at the side, I like finding connections. There was the poster of the film with Peter Cushing in the anthology series. Yes, from that year, 65. Fantastic, the first Amicus film. It's there. The Doctor Terror. Oh, yes. Absolutely wonderful. What more can I say? You can go on and on. I better not, because we ain't got hours, but that's what I could start talking about. But yeah, Matt Smith. Anyway, let's just another quick look. Rita Tushingham is also in this. Now you're going, she was very much iconic in the 1960s, and also in modern times. Again, I like finding things like this. She was in Under the Skin, which is one of my favourite modern... Well, when I say modern, it's relative to all these. But Under the Skin, I love. Under the Skin is one of my favourite films. And it's an A24 film as well. But anyway, there we are. Just throw that in. She represents, again, another somebody who was actually in the 60s. Then we've got Terence Stamp, again, another actor who was involved in the 60s. He's perhaps famous for, at that time, he was in Dr. Zhivago. What else was he in? No. He was in, famously, I don't know why I said Dr. Zhivago. Sorry, that's Rita Tushingham. Terence Stamp was involved in the Star Wars Phantom Menace. He was famously as General Zod in Superman's 1 and 2. Fantastic. Then, of course, you know what a big fan I am, Diana Rigg. It was her last film. She died a few weeks after production. And I kind of feel sad when I see that. But her performance is amazing. That was a whole career. Do you know, I'm beginning to think that Diana Rigg was somebody who we should have treasured even more. She's so good. We go back to the 60s with the Avengers. We go on as the Bond girl on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And then in the modern era, She was in the Game of Thrones, which is been a massively successful TV series as well. She was in Doctor Who. I know, I have to slip it in, don't I? I mean, what more can I say? Diana Rigg, a total legend, and how wonderful that she appeared in this film. You know, somebody going back from the 1960s. Amazing. And then you're saying to yourself, yeah, this is all good, but what is the film about? And, well, it's classed as a psychological horror film, but I don't know. You could call it a lot of things. A thriller, even. You could call it with even, I don't know, sci-fi time elements in it, if you want to look at it like that. You can go where you want, basically, if you don't want to characterize it. But what I like about this film is it sort of builds up layer after layer, and you see all these layers in the film, and it is fantastic. Well, basically, Ellie comes into London. We see her at the beginning from outside London. I think she lives in sort of a small village, town place, and she's been obsessed by the 60s. But we get hints that she's had sort of mental health, maybe difficulties at times. A mother died when she was 7, and it looks like her mother committed suicide as well. So there's that fear, and she's looked after by her grandmother. That's who Reed Tushingham plays, and anyhow, she gets in. Her dream is to be a fashion designer, and she's good at it already. She's showing very promising signs. So she goes to London, and then she finds out basically that maybe she doesn't quite fit in. She is more of a stranger in London. And London, anybody visiting London, it can be quite a daunting place. And this is in the present day. But her obsession with the 60s plays a vital part, I think, in how she relates to what she's doing, to her creative art, and also to her mental state, as we see. So she finds in the end that she's, in a way, going back to the 1960s and following this aspiring singer, Sandy. And when she goes back, you see this wonderful view of the 60s and so on. Everything at that moment, when you first see it, it looks glamorous. It looks like something, wow, London. It's almost like it's the London before the sort of hippie era. It's that 1965, and London looks bright and shiny. Of course, like everything, when you look back with nostalgia, and I'm very much guilty of it, and a lot of people are saying, hey, it's not like the old days, hey, buy it. And we all see the good things. What this film wonderfully does about Soho is we slowly start to see the darker sides about, especially involved with the singer, Sandy, how she basically finds herself getting more and more involved in things that she doesn't want to be involved in. But at first she thinks she has to do these for her career as a singer. And we start to see the very sleazy, awful side of it all. And it descends. And Matt Smith is the character Jack, who's very much involved in all this. I don't want to go too much, because I don't want to tell you and give away all the whole story. But it is a wonderful descent into those horror realms, and the film starts to really draw you in. It starts to get more scary, more horrific, as we see reality and dreamlike states mixing together, and the sanity of everything. What is going on? You start to wonder. And the way it's written, everything makes sense, and it all beautifully comes together. And that is down to the writing, it's down to the acting, it's down to the cinematography and the direction of the film. It is a real treat. You're watching something pretty special. And this film, for me, sums up the art of filmmaking, why it's so good. I can't criticise this film at all. Mind you, I never do I? When I really love something, how can I criticise? Be so ridiculous and start criticising and nitpicking. Never will I do that with this, because it is a beautiful film, the way it's done. And it's one of those films that, as soon as I watched it, I want to watch it again. It's an amazing film. And I just talk quickly about the music. There's some great scenes. The music is so important in this film. It makes me immediately be jumping over and getting all these 60s compilations I've got on the CD of 60s music. The title of the film, because he's so interested in music, The Last Night in Soho, was actually a hit song by Dave D. Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Teach. Now, what a name! I remember that was what a name of the group. But that was one of their songs. But the standout songs in this film are when you hear Cilla Black and that music, that "Oh My World," oh yeah, that the strings, just the beat, the voice. You suddenly realise how powerful actually that Cilla Black song is. And then, I think one of the most striking moments in this film is when Thomasin McKenzie sings as Ellie. Sorry, I've got it confused there. Hey, sorry about that. No, well, Thomas, it's just Anya Taylor-Joy, Sandy. It's when that moment of singing Downtown. Downtown, what an amazing song by Petula Clark of that era. And we get to hear this beautiful version of the song. It's just incredible. Incredible. And there's another scene that strikes me. There's always scenes that strike me. There's one where they're in this disco, and it's on Halloween, and they're playing the There's a Ghost in the House by Dean Taylor. It's a classic 60s film and a song that is so atmospheric. And the song is wonderful. And then it goes into one of my favourite songs from Susie and the Banshees. I know they're in the 70s, 80s. Well, this, I suppose, it's Happy House, which I think could well actually be into the 80s when that came out. But I see Susie and the Banshees as punk 70s, though they had a very strong career into the 80s as well. What a great band they were. But when I hear Happy House, wow, I just think, wow, it's a wonderful song with that beat jumps in and everything. I'm in my element there. Hey, I am. And that's just an example of, say, the power of the music throughout the film. It just adds so much, and he talked about this. When you the other thing is this 4K. It just looks great. What can you say? It's absolutely fantastic. And there's some great extras as well. The extras, you just couldn't watch them because they talk to the cast, they talk to the director a lot. You get the way the film was put together, the locations as well, the fact that they filmed it in Soho, and the problems of getting it looking like the 60s. You can imagine the problems in filming it, and then of course having it Soho nowadays, and the way they created the venues of the 60s. And then it talks about the colour. I forgot about the colours. We always think of the bright cinematography, technicolor colours in the 1960s, and we get that. But then you start mixing it and our use of colour, mix it with the modern day as well. It's just amazing. Again, it's the extras explain it much better than I, because I start getting confused and saying the wrong bloody things. But there we are. But yeah, the extras, and it's great to see the extras on the actual 4K disc. I don't have to go over to the Blu-ray. There is a Blu-ray with this. Great extra, and the storyboards. There's a bit where you go through some of the storyboards and seeing how the film was. Oh yeah. Great. Yeah. So the whole package is great. The film is great. You must see this film. I suppose most of you perhaps have, but I'm a bit behind as usual. There we are. But yeah, this film, highly recommended. Yes. What can I say? Last Night in Soho, 2021. Do yourself a favour. Watch this. Well, that's it. Yes, it's finished. Oh, I could carry on. I'd have been going on about the blooming music again, but anyhow, I won't go on about it. Honest, yeah. So, anyhow, subscribe. Just so I can tell you, when I'm producing more of these funny videos. And also, if you really like it, please give it a like. Yes, go on, give it a like. And then it costs note. So you can't say better than that, can you? Well, you can probably, but hey, listen. Films like this, I just can't stop talking about, and I love it. This is what it's about. It's what everything is about. Anyhow, so all I've got to say is, I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.